The weather models just made a dramatic shift, and what they're showing now changes everything we thought we knew about the next 2 weeks. Turbulent times are ahead. Very turbulent. Temperatures swinging wildly up and down. Not purely warm, not purely cold. Something in between that's actually more dangerous, more unpredictable, and more likely to produce intense winter storms. Here's the truth most forecasters won't tell you. The stagnant patterns are over. The predictable cold is ending. What's replacing it is chaos, pure meteorological chaos, and that chaos is about to unleash monster winter storms. The revelation that changes everything is at the 30-second mark. When weather patterns stagnate, strong storm systems struggle to develop. Everything sits static. High pressure blocks, low pressure weakens, nothing intensifies. But introduce volatility, introduce rapid temperature changes, and everything explodes. Instability develops. Storm systems form rapidly. Intensification happens quickly. We're entering that volatile zone right now, and the models are screaming about what's coming. Both European and GFS models show the same theme, back and forth, cold then warm then cold, each swing creating new opportunities, each temperature contrast sharpening storm potential. By late December, the pattern could produce something significant. Let's start with the trend that's emerged this winter, something critical that changes how we forecast every storm going forward. The game-changing information is at minute 3. Pay attention. This winter has been intensifying storms at the last minute, not just a little, dramatically. Within the final 24 hours before a snow system arrives, forecast amounts keep jumping higher. Yesterday's forecast showed 2 to 4 inches for areas west of Philadelphia. This morning, 6 to 8 inches actually fell. That's not a small miss. That's rapid intensification the models barely caught. It happened again today. Moderate snow system along the mid-Atlantic and northeast. Models trended stronger and slightly west at the very last minute. Areas in Pennsylvania that weren't supposed to see much got buried. This is the new normal. Storms intensifying rapidly, forecast amounts jumping in the final hours. Sometimes there's a track shift north or south. But the bigger picture is simple. Amounts are increasing. Storms are strengthening. Last minute. Remember this trend, because it's going to continue. And it means any winter storm in the forecast could overperform significantly in the final 12 to 24 hours. Tomorrow afternoon brings very cold temperatures. Very cold. Southeastern Virginia hitting the upper teens tonight. Unusual for this area. Farther inland and farther north, single digits are widespread. The breakthrough discovery happens at minute 5. Don't miss it. Very cold for a lot of people over the next night and day. Monday, the 15th, Northwest sees a storm system bringing mountain snow and lower elevation rain. Great Lakes in the Northeast get pounded by lake-effect snow as these really cold temperatures persist. Tuesday brings a clipper system. Standard behavior when the trough in the east relaxes. Storm tracks move along the jet stream to the north. In our previous pattern, these would slide underneath, but the jet stream is changing, relaxing, opening the door for different storm tracks. Wednesday shows less activity in the east, although temperatures are cooler Wednesday than Tuesday. Out west, a major storm system starts organizing. For the mountainous west, this is the first piece of the puzzle. Thursday the 18th is when the pattern explodes. A significant low pressure develops almost immediately. We're into the back-and-forth temperature regime now. And look at this pressure reading. 981 millibars between Minnesota and Canada. Let that sink in. 981. That's an extreme low pressure for this time of year. To put it in perspective, that's approaching hurricane-like intensity for a winter storm. A really intense system for the north-central states. The shocking revelation is at minute 7. Plenty of snowfall happens for Canada, northern plains, and Midwest, but snow isn't the only threat. Thunderstorms and severe weather are possible across the deep south, maybe even the Midwest. Very intense Arctic air crashing into warm, humid air from the Gulf. That creates massive instability. In summer, this setup produces tornado outbreaks. In winter, it can still generate damaging winds, large hail, even isolated tornadoes. Wintertime severe weather events do occur. Thursday the 18th is a day to watch carefully if you're in the deep south. This isn't a snow-only event. This is a multi-hazard weather day. As this system progresses towards the eastern states, it brings a very intense Arctic air mass. 18th and 19th. Back and forth pattern in full effect. We just saw a milder push. Now Arctic air slams back in. But here's the catch. With the primary low up to the north, snow chances in the east are minimal. Even with Arctic air moving in, most precipitation stays out ahead of the system. Not much snowfall unless you're in very high elevations. Even then, just a quick blast. The unprecedented information is at minute 9. That colder air lasts a couple days. Another Canadian snowfall event moves through. Colder air makes a comeback after the 20th. Then the jetstream goes flat near Christmas. Some colder air to the north, milder to the south. This is what meteorologists call transient flow. Very flat from west to east. But don't let that fool you. Flat doesn't mean quiet. Not in this pattern. After Christmas, things get very interesting. A clipper system starts moving through the Great Lakes into the northeast, and this is where the models are hinting at something big. The northeast and mid-Atlantic become the spot to watch. Maybe a clipper system tracking farther south than usual. It's early, very early. Take it with caution. But the signal is there. Then we get upward motion with the storm track. Haven't seen this since late November. Systems moving from the southwest northward through the Midwest. This is a classic setup for significant snow events. The GFS model shows the current snowstorm ending, then the pattern. Colder air, warmer air, colder air, brief warm-up, brief cool-down. The mind-blowing discovery happens at minute 11. Around the 20th, something interesting appears along the east coast. Lower pressure near the coast, perhaps inland snowfall as colder air moves in, a time frame to watch closely. It doesn't look like a massive threat yet, but the ingredients are assembling. Storm system, Arctic air, both puzzle pieces present. Anytime both pieces are on the table, it's worth noting we get colder air around the 22nd. Warm up for the 23rd and 24th. But Christmas Day, the 25th, brings a cool down that lasts to the 26th. Then, after Christmas, around the 29th, here's where it gets wild. The models show a massive Arctic air mass moving in, very far out, extremely far out. But we're seeing a really intense blast of Arctic air, similar to what we experienced recently. And accompanying it, a low offshore, bringing heavy snowfall to the mid-Atlantic and northeast. Now listen carefully. These specific details will change, expected to change. 10 days out, specifics are unreliable. But the pattern is reliable, and the pattern says cold air returns after Christmas. Snowfall chances return with it. The critical breakthrough is at minute 13. This aligns perfectly with long-range teleconnections, the MJO and Arctic patterns, all pointing the same direction. A warmer period from the 20th through Christmas. Not super warm, but warmer. Shorter lived in nature. That warm period ends, and we're left with colder air in the east. Positioned for storm systems, positioned for snow. Total precipitation on the European model is very elevated out west. Acceptable in the east, but not dramatically high. Anomalies show slightly below normal for most of the east, pretty far below normal for the deep south, pretty far above normal out west. Total snowfall on the European model reveals something important. With jetstream relaxation, most storms track much farther north. Snowfall chances move north with them, but look at those western mountain ranges. A whole lot of snowfall. Massive amounts with elevated precipitation. The GFS model's snowfall is equally impressive for the mountainous west. Some southern action happening at times, especially later in the model run. That eastern corridor looking interesting, very far out. Good sign. But don't extract specifics yet. Temperature anomalies on the European model show intense Arctic air tonight, historic for some areas, lasting through tomorrow, still very cold, even Tuesday quite cold along the east. The game-changing update is at minute 15. Milder, push for the 18th and 19th. Then another Arctic air mass. Brief warm-up. Brief Arctic air mass. Warm-up. Arctic air in the north trying to push down the east coast just after Christmas. The GFS model agrees. Cold, warm, cold, warm, Cold, the pattern is clear. These back and forths increase storm system chances dramatically. Very interesting storm systems, more intense ones. That's the key takeaway for the upcoming pattern. Not boring stagnation, not unrelenting cold. Action, volatility, storm potential brewing. Let me explain the science behind why this matters. In meteorology, we track something called available potential energy. In stagnant patterns, that energy has nowhere to release. It just sits there, suppressed. But in volatile patterns with rapid temperature changes, that energy releases explosively. Temperature gradients sharpen, pressure gradients intensify, storm systems bomb out. This is when we see rapid deepening, when forecast amounts jump 6 inches in 12 hours. The shocking discovery happens at minute 17. That trend this winter of last-minute intensification isn't random. It's the pattern telling us storms have energy to tap. They're finding it, using it, strengthening rapidly. Pennsylvania, west of Philadelphia, 6 to 8 inches that appeared overnight in the forecast. That's the pattern at work. Energy releasing, storms intensifying, forecast models struggling to keep up. This will continue. Expect it. When a winter storm enters the forecast, understand the final amounts could jump significantly. What looks like 3 inches on Tuesday could be 7 inches by Thursday morning. For the 18th, that 981 millibar low is exceptional. Most people don't understand pressure readings. Let me make it clear. A strong hurricane at landfall might be 950 to 970 millibars. 981 is very strong for a mid-latitude winter system. That kind of pressure means powerful winds, heavy precipitation rates, blizzard conditions where snow is falling. This is a monster storm, not ordinary winter weather. The severe weather component is serious. Arctic air meeting Gulf warmth in winter creates unique dynamics, not as violent as summer setups typically, but still capable of producing damaging straight-line winds, large hail, even tornadoes in the warm sector. The unprecedented revelation is at minute 19. The Deep South, Thursday the 18th, stay weather aware. Have multiple ways to receive warnings. Weather radio, phone alerts, local news. Know your safe spot. If severe thunderstorm or tornado warnings are issued, take them seriously. After the 18th and 19th Arctic blast spreads east, we enter the holiday week pattern flip. Brief warm periods providing relief. Brief cold snaps keeping winter alive. This volatility continues through Christmas. Post-Christmas is where the models are most intriguing. That massive Arctic air mass around the 29th, the offshore low potential, heavy snow signals for mid-Atlantic and Northeast, it's 10+ days out. Details are fluid, timing will shift, amounts are uncertain, but pattern recognition says, pay attention, the teleconnections support it, the ingredients are gathering. Here's what you need to understand about post-Christmas patterns. When the MJO and Arctic patterns both favor East Coast cold, major city snow chances spike. Not guaranteed, but probability increases significantly. Ocean temperatures running cooler than normal. Each Arctic outbreak cools them more. By late December, significantly below average. This is massive for coastal snow potential. Cooler ocean means more snow, less rain, mixing during coastal storms. The critical information happens at minute 21. Canadian snowpack is massive, above average for mid-December. When Arctic air travels south over deep snowpack, it maintains intensity, stays colder longer. What would normally moderate to just cold becomes bitter cold. What would be a minor snow event becomes moderate to heavy. Force multiplier is the term meteorologists use. The snowpack multiplies the cold's intensity, and we have that multiplier in place right now. It's not going away. Every Arctic outbreak through January benefits. Everything is aligning, not for one isolated event, for multiple opportunities through late December and January. The chaos creates chances repeatedly. Each temperature swing brings moisture. Each Arctic blast provides cold. When timing aligns, heavy snow falls. Northeast and Mid-Atlantic, stay vigilant through early January. This doesn't end after Christmas. Pattern stays active. Storm chances persist. Multiple systems possible. Not guaranteed. Possible. And in this pattern, possible means probable. Let me give you the detailed timeline. Today through Monday, dangerous cold. Single digits in teens widespread. Wind chills below zero. Lake effect snow continues. Current system winding down, but produce surprise 6 to 8 inch totals. That trend continues. Tuesday, clipper on northern track. Standard. Wednesday, major storm organizing out west. Eastern activity minimal. Thursday, the 18th monster develops. 981 millibar beast. Heavy snow northern tier. Severe weather threat south. The final game changer is at minute 23. Friday 19th, Arctic blast spreads east. Bitter cold, minimal snow, major cities, most precipitation ahead of cold front. Weekend 21st and 22nd, quick cold shot then moderating. 23rd and 24th, brief warm-up. Some areas could see 50s. Christmas Day, 25th, cool down initiates. 26th, stays cool. 29th through early January. This is the critical window. Massive Arctic air mass potentially invading. Offshore low possibly developing. Heavy snow potential mid-Atlantic through northeast. Low confidence specifics. High confidence pattern support. For travelers, the 18th is a nightmare scenario for northern routes. Heavy snow, strong winds, whiteout conditions possible. Avoid travel if possible. If you must travel, leave early or late. Avoid the peak of the storm. 29th through early January could impact holiday return travel. If that offshore low materializes, major airport delays Washington to Boston. Cancellations likely. Have backup plans. Build in extra days. Be flexible with tickets. For snow enthusiasts, this is your pattern. Not the locked-in Arctic with no storms. Not the warm pattern with rain. The Goldilocks zone. Cold enough for snow. Active enough for storms. Volatile enough for intensification. Multiple chances through late December and January. Quick hitting systems, surprise intensification potential. Ingredients for memorable events. January could deliver if this pattern holds. For those weary of winter, relief comes between systems. 23rd and 24th look pleasant. After each Arctic shot, recovery periods. Not unrelenting misery. Manageable ups and downs. The mind-blowing discovery is at minute 25. But those downs, those cold periods, they pack punch. And with this winter's intensification trend, any system could overperform. 2 inches forecast becomes 6. 4 inches becomes 10. The pattern supports it. What's coming in the next video will redefine winter. Deep dive on post-Christmas offshore low potential. Detailed storm track analysis. City-specific snowfall probabilities. Timing windows narrowed down. Extended January pattern analysis. If teleconnections verify, multiple significant systems likely. Not one, multiple. Classic nor'easter setup improving. Ocean temperatures cooling. Blocking developing. Arctic air accessible. The infrastructure for big coastal bombs is assembling. Late December through January could see repeated significant events. Not every week, but multiple opportunities. More than typical winters provide. Subscribe now for that critical breakdown. Next 2 weeks are just the opening act. Main event comes January. Based on pattern recognition and teleconnection analysis, it could be spectacular. This isn't hype. This is science. Pattern volatility, creating storm potential. Temperature contrast sharpening, energy building. Historically, these setups deliver. And this one is textbook. Stay alert. Monitor forecasts obsessively. Expect changes hourly as systems approach. Embrace uncertainty as opportunity. In volatile patterns, uncertainty means possibilities. And for winter weather lovers, possibilities means snow. We'll see you in the next forecast with complete post-Christmas analysis and January pattern breakdown that could make this winter absolutely unforgettable.